Hey there, and welcome back to GenXGrownUp. I'm George, and this is Bit by Bit. Up first, we're going to have a whole bunch more new news on the Analogue 3D. PLAION has a brand new console it's going to be releasing next year, and there's yet another way to turn that Lego Game Boy Advance set into a playable model. All that and just a little bit more up next on Bit by Bit. Okay, first up here from notebookcheck.com, the Analogue 3D is about to get restocked tomorrow on November 24th, and unfortunately, it's going to get a price increase as well. So, first up, they posted this on their X account here just a couple of days ago. They said that the Analogue 3D is going to be restocked at 8 a.m. Pacific Standard Time on Monday, November the 24th. It's going to begin shipping with that batch on December 2nd. Of course, anybody who's already pre-ordered it, theirs are going to ship first. So this is going to come out after that. And also, any new buyers of the system are going to be limited to only 2 units. My guess is they're trying to prevent people scalping and selling these things on eBay for exorbitant prices, or at least the best they can do. However, one sad bit of news, it's going to increase by $20 from $249.99 up to $269.99. And of course, they're saying it's because of tariffs. And, you know, tariffs are a pain in the ass, and they're definitely biting all of us in the butt when it comes to all of the favorite electronic gear that we want these days that's coming from overseas. We're definitely feeling it, but at least they're getting this restocked. It's been out of stock for so long, and it took so long to get the unit shipping. Apparently everybody loves it. And to help you decide if you want to pay that extra $20, I found this review from IGN.com, and it is a thorough, in-depth review, ladies and gentlemen. I'll have the link down in the description of this video below, as always. Inside the box, you get the Analogue 3D itself, 4K HDMI cable, 30-watt USB-C plug, and a 16-gig SD card, along with their 3D OS installed, which is what they're touting as being a really big selling point of the system. Not to mention the fact you're going to be able to play Nintendo 64 cartridges through HDMI onto any TV that accepts that. Box also comes with some tiny game cartridge cleaners, which are basically magic erasers, according to the article. I just find that funny that they're putting magic erasers because they know if you've got old carts or you're buying carts from somewhere else, they're probably going to be filthy. The reviewer says that the cleaners don't last long, and they're hoping that Analogue starts selling them as an extra thing. I don't know, maybe just go get a magic eraser. I don't know. We'll have to see how it goes. The article goes into designs and features and a whole bunch of other stuff. Down here, I did want to highlight that you can use Bluetooth with this system, Bluetooth controllers. They're easy to sync, but you do have to press this little blue button in order to go into the sync mode. So it's not quite readily apparent, as the author of this article mentioned, but still, at least you can pair any Bluetooth controller that you want for this thing. Here's a look at that OS. I don't think that OS looks that great to me. It kind of looks meh. But apparently, every time you plug in one of your cartridges, the OS will recognize that cartridge, give you some information about that cartridge, and you can do things like add custom artwork and stuff. But really, if that's the custom artwork, who the hell cares? That's just kind of ugly, if you ask me. Anyway, a whole bunch more stuff in this article down below. So if you're not sure about that $20 price increase, read this article and make that decision for yourself. Here's one from techpowerup.com. Retro Games and PLAION have announced a new the Spectrum Collector's Edition. And this one, as you can see, comes in this really crazy white color. I've only ever known ZX Spectrums to be black, which is what we're used to seeing them all the time. But apparently, this goes back to when they released or sold the 1/1,000th ZX Spectrum back in 1983. And I guess the company then released this special white Heritage Collector's Edition thing. And it's very rare. It's hard to get a hold of. So Retro Games and PLAION decided, hey, we're going to go ahead, and because our current these Spectrum has been so successful, next year we're going to release this edition, and it comes with some cool stuff. So let's take a look here. It's what's in the collector's edition. First, the Spectrum in the white edition, the QuickShot 2 8-button USB joystick, as you can see right here. Then there's also this printer right down here, and there's a bigger picture of it down there. It's a modern take on the original thermal printer, I guess, that you could have with the system. There's going to be a micro drive USB stick, which is right here. Spiral bound manual. I love that they're including a spiral bound manual. That's just awesome. Exclusive collector edition Crash magazine, and the power cable and HDMI cable. So you get quite a bit for that. Here's some of the other stuff that comes in the Spectrum itself: 48 pre-installed games, 720 HDMI output, full basic programming mode. Let's see, 4 save slots, USB support for personal games in all those different formats you can see listed there, and 4 USB ports for controllers and or accessories like maybe a printer, which is pretty cool. There's a little note here from Retro Games, about how happy they are with this system. And let's take a look. The release date is going to be June the 26th of next year, 2026, and it's going to be for £200. That's probably close to 275 or 300 US dollars, I think. But anyway, you can go right now and pre-order it at PLAIONreplay.com if you'd like to go ahead and get your version of this The Spectrum Collector's Edition. Okay, ladies and gentlemen, we've got some sad news, and normally, I don't include this kind of stuff, but this I thought was important. shacknews.com is where I found this first article. Unfortunately, we lost Rebecca Heineman this past week at age 62. She was a pioneer in the retro gaming space a long time ago. You can see right here, she was actually the Atari 2600 Space Invaders champion in America, which is just crazy. Just really sad. I don't really quite know how to talk about this. I have spoken recently with a whole bunch of different people in the game development scene who knew her very closely and said what a wonderful person she was. There is a GoFundMe page. It was originally set up to help her fight cancer and pay for her cancer treatments. And of course now, unfortunately, it's going to go towards paying for her funeral, which is a sad outcome, but I hope you'll dig deep and give to this wonderful person and her cause. Yeah, just really sad. There's a whole bunch of wonderfully supportive comments that were posted to social media in the wake of her passing. Scott Miller, you can see here, Brian Fargo, Rod Breslau, just on and on and on. And I agree with the author of this article. We do send our condolences to her friends and family. God bless you, Rebecca. I'm at least happy that you're in a better place and not in pain anymore. But for those who can, just like I'm going to, please go to the GoFundMe page and do what you can to help. And finally, up here from Tech E-Blog, that Game Boy Advance Lego set that everybody's been talking about this year, and plenty of people have produced different ways for you to be able to turn it into an actual playable Game Boy. Well, BrickBoy has a Kickstarter out that not only gives you the system that they built, which is a very good system because you don't have to worry about soldering or any of that stuff to turn your Game Boy Lego set into a playable system, but also now, because they got to over 500,000 euros, they're going to add in this extra add-on that you can purchase that turns it into a stand-up arcade version as well. Look at that little stool. It's just so damn cool. Anyway, there's some videos down here. Let's take a look. Pop the Arcade Edition bits onto the existing BrickBoy base, which has the bonus of already being compatible with a Lego chassis. Very cool. Whole unit turns out to be about 12 inches tall when you're done. Very nice. HDMI cable, of course, to any TV. Get you 720p resolution. That's not too bad. I mean, it's a Game Boy Advance. What do you want, really? Wireless pairing, also via Bluetooth. And the Arcade Edition comes with a curated place called Expo Mode that lets you play 50 public domain arcade games straight out of the box. Now, that's not George's public domain. That's real public domain. But there you go. Here's some videos from the Kickstarter page. Down here, we've got links to everything. But the Arcade Edition costs 89 euros. That's just that add-on that turns it into that little stand-up unit. But you're also going to have to pay 139 euros total to get the BrickBoy kit that turns the Lego set and the Lego set. That'll cost you for both. It'll turn that Lego set into the playable unit. So a grand total, if you got everything, 290 euros, which I think is pretty pricey in American dollars. I don't even want to go look at the exchange rate on that right now. But, you know, if you're a Game Boy Advance fan, you're probably going to go ahead and get this because it's pretty damn cool. And that will wrap it up for another edition of Bit by Bit here on GenXGrownUp. Thank you so much for sticking around to the end, and we will talk to you guys again next time. Bye-bye. That's going to do it for the news making headlines in the gaming world right now. I am George, and if you want to see more, hit that subscribe button, and I'll keep on bringing you the news bit by bit.